Your electronic BP apparatus may be giving the wrong reading to you, and that may lead to unnecessary pills, or it may lead to unnecessary lack of treatment. So in this video, we need to understand what are the things that can lead to a false blood pressure reading by an electronic BP apparatus, and I am going to talk about those things, and at the end I'll talk about the thing how to stop it and how to know what is the BP apparatus that you should be buying. I'll be showing you some list. Now this is not an affiliate marketing or anything of that sort. I'll be sharing the official list of the products or the list of validated BP apparatuses that you should be consulting before buying a BP apparatus anywhere in the world. So first of all, what could go wrong with the BP apparatus? The first thing is maybe the BP apparatus that you have purchased is not accurate. It's not manufactured in a way that it targets accuracy. It says just built to be sold, and in that case the credibility of the BP apparatus is not there. The second thing is the BP apparatus that we are using is not approved. So why does it matter? The thing is, it may be giving the accurate BP at this point in time, but after 4 to 5 weeks or somewhere down the line, it will start to give a BP readings that is not appropriate, it is not reliable. And falsely, we will be trusting that BP apparatus to begin with because initially it was giving a normal blood pressure or inaccurate blood pressure, but now we are still trusting that device, but now it's not accurate anymore. So that's why it's extremely important to go through the list of the valid BP apparatus or the BP apparatuses that you should rely on while you are making a buying decision around the world. The third thing is, you may be doing the blood pressure check in the wrong way. Like, you may be talking while you are checking the blood pressure. That's the wrong thing to do. You should not talk when you are checking your blood pressure because that changes your blood pressure environment. We can be talking in a good way or we can be talking in an angry way to somebody. In either way, your emotions get attached to your talking behavior and that can interfere with your blood pressure readings. Along with that, you may be eating something and it's not recommended to eat something while you are getting yourself checked for the blood pressure. You may not be having a comfortable seat. You should be having your back with the seat and you should be comfortable for 3 to 5 minutes before checking the blood pressure. Another thing that can go wrong is either the room or the environment is too cold, too hot, too humid, or the overall environment is hostile at that place. Even in that case, the blood pressure isn't accurate. It's a response of the body to that environment, not the actual blood pressure reading of your body. Along with that, you should be taking into account if you're checking a blood pressure of somebody who is suffering from paralysis and there is one part of the body which is not working and one arm is not working, it's important that you should be checking your blood pressure in which limb. I'm not going to give a blanket statement on which side you should be checking. You should consult your physician and he will let you know from where you should be checking for the blood pressure. Along with that, you should not be having any full bladder at the time of checking the blood pressure. If you want to micturate, go ahead and micturate, come back, sit for 3 to 5 minutes before getting your blood pressure checked. The fourth thing is you may be getting blood pressure reading from an electronic BP apparatus that is applied on the wrist. Now that's not accurate. Most of the BP apparatuses that are applied on the wrist, they are not very accurate, but that's not a blanket statement. There are certain fine validated BP apparatuses that work reasonably well on the wrist. But in general, I would highly recommend to go for a BP apparatus that is being applied on the arm and not on the wrist. And the fifth way is very important. And the fifth reason for the false BP in electronic BP apparatus is choice of a wrong cuff. Now, if you ever seen a BP cuff, there are some readings on it. It says either 15 to 22, 22 to 32 or something like that. So what does that mean? It means you need to check the circumference of your arm and then tally which BP cuff you should be using. Like if you are having a 16 centimeter circumference of the arm. You should be using a BP cuff that mentions that it is within that range. Like 15 to 22 is the one for you. But if you are having a BP circumference like 28, you should be using a BP cuff that includes a 28 centimeter circumference, like 22 to 32 or 26 to 32. If it's mentioned on the BP cuff, then it is for you. If your circumference is not there on the BP cuff, then it's not the BP cuff for you. You need to change that. And if you check your BP with a cuff without taking into account what's the circumference of your arm, you're going to have a false BP reading. Another thing is the bladder, the soft part in it, the one that blows up and one that inflates when we blow in the air or with the insufflation. That should be covering the front of the arm, and it must be covering the front of the arm, and it must be having a 1.5 centimeter distance from the cubital fossa or the elbow, because the vessels are traveling from the front of the arm. So the bladder should be covering this part, and it should be covering the 80% of the circumference of the arm. If it is applied in this way and the front part is not covered by that rubber and the soft bladder, in that case wrong readings will be there. And how can you make sure that it's placed right over there? If you can't palpate that soft part within your BP cuff, in that case just place the two wires that are exiting from the cuff right in front of the elbow. If you have placed it right in front of the elbow, there are good chances that you are covering the front and you will be having a fine BP reading. The sixth thing that can go wrong while checking a BP with the electronic BP apparatus is low battery. Sometimes we don't take into account, we feel like if the low battery is there, the BP apparatus will just stop functioning. That's not always true. Sometimes it keeps on functioning before dying out, but it will give some bad readings before dying out. So just make sure and periodically change your batteries before they completely die out. Now, in general, most of the Western countries have the electronic BP apparatus all around. But if you feel like something is wrong, you can compare that reading with a mercury BP apparatus if you have somewhere. If somebody is checking a mercury BP apparatus, you should go there and check and compare the electronic BP apparatus reading with the mercury apparatus. If the reading is within the 10 millimeter of mercury range with the mercury BP apparatus properly checked, in that case, I think your BP apparatus is doing fine. That's one way, but in West, generally, as I previously mentioned, mercury BP apparatus is not frequently used. Almost everybody is using electronic BP apparatus. That brings me to the last part of the video, and the important thing is how to know the BP apparatus that you are using is validated and we should trust it or not. You can go into a stride list. It's available on the net, and it gives you a list of the validated BP apparatus around the world. Along with that, American Medical Associations also gives a list of all the BP apparatuses that are electronically made and are validated and recommended for use. You can go through the list and make sure that your BP apparatus at home is one of those ones. If it's not validated, I won't recommend using that BP apparatus. I hope this video brings some value to your life. Thank you so much for tuning in.